Can Kyrie and Harden get to the finals without having KD?
No. I've said it on many occasions. I'll say it again. Start off the show saying it. I'll say it again. It's not going to happen because of the way the Philadelphia 76ers look and the way the Milwaukee Bucks look. Harden and Kyrie are great. Kyrie is box office as far as I'm concerned. He's the number one attraction for me. He's my favorite player to watch this year. He's been an absolute showstopper. He's just nasty, no question. But come playoff time, when you're preparing for a best 4 out of 7, I'm thinking along the lines of the size and the defensive prowess that both Philadelphia and Milwaukee bring to the table. And I'm saying that the X factor in it all will be KD because neither team has any answer for Kevin Durant, like no one else in the NBA has an answer for Kevin Durant. He's simply that lethal. And I think that with him on the court, the Brooklyn Nets obviously go to the finals and should be favorites to win the chip. Without him, I don't think they get out of the East. I just look at it, and even though I like what they've been doing, Joe Harris has been doing, Landry Shamet dropped 30 the other day. I like what he's been doing. I'm just looking at them collectively, and I'm saying it still comes down to the absence of Kevin Durant. If you don't have him, you don't have a replacement for him. And that's why I don't believe Philadelphia or Milwaukee, the Brooklyn Nets would not get by both of them. I just don't see it.
I might not make them the favorites, but I can't say they can't win without KD because I saw them win a lot without KD. Stephen A., they went from being a team before the Harden trade, I thought, not enough. Like KD and Kyrie, I thought, what you're saying about these other teams in the East, maybe they could do it, but I might like the depth of the other teams a little bit more. Once they got Harden, they had no KD. It's like they couldn't lose. They basically got to the best record in the East without KD, with just Harden and Kyrie, and sometimes it was just James Harden. Even when they go on to the West Coast and play the Blazers and the Jazz. No, and look, are they going to have matchup problems with Embiid? Well, who's not? But you're still counting by twos with Embiid for the most part. If he's getting 3, I mean, he can shoot the 3, but given the number of threes he's taking, he's getting 3 the hard way. He's not bombing from 3. So, yeah, they would still have chances in that matchup. Absolutely, especially with Joe Harris, who's actually the best shooter on the team. And they have bigs who can play, like big bodies who can play. Of course, not a match for Embiid, but Claxton and Blake and guys. They have DeAndre. They have some bodies they can throw at him. Sure. Now, what you're saying is with KD, they win. No doubt. If everyone's healthy on the Nets, including KD, ain't no one stopping them, including the Lakers, given the way they improved on defense and the way I saw Harden and Kyrie dominate the league without KD. So you add KD, I'm with you. But even without KD, they're one of the front runners in the division. Them, the Bucks, and the Sixers. It's going to be one of those 3 teams, most likely. Yeah, they can do it without him.
Okay. We shall see. Best 4-7. They get an opportunity to prepare for you. We've watched Miami beat them. We beat Milwaukee. We talked about bubble play, but Miami's perimeter shooting basically sealed the deal. And we know that that Kyrie and James Harden are capable of doing that. But I just think that when you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, according to Joel Embiid, and you'll see some of my interview with him tonight on SportsCenter with Stephen A. leading into the game tonight.
Wait, where is it, Stephen A.? Where's the interview?
On ESPN. It'll be on ESPN tonight on my pregame show, SportsCenter with Stephen A. at 7 o'clock. And then tomorrow the interview will air in its entirety on Stephen A.'s World on ESPN+. But as he mentions, we don't have one Defensive Player of the Year candidate. We got 2, in me and Ben Simmons. So, I mean, when I think about it from that perspective, and I think about how formidable Joel Embiid has been with the shooters that he's been surrounded with the way that Doc Rivers and his staff have Tobias Harris and Seth Curry and others playing, I just think it's too much of an ask for Brooklyn to come out of the Eastern Conference without KD. And I'm going to reiterate, I think Julius Randle right now, the way that he has been balling with the New York Knicks, I think that he's an MVP candidate, even though not a top 2 one. And I think that when you look at Tom Thibodeau, I think he's a coach of the year. And if the Knicks make the playoffs and the Nets don't make the finals, the New York Knicks will be considered a success story and the Brooklyn Nets will be considered a failure.
This is what I have to say about that, Stephen A. I saw James Harden take a Daryl Morey put-together team and a Mike D'Antoni coached team I saw James Harden take a way undermanned team, way undermanned, no Chris Paul, to 7 games against KD, Steph, Clay, Dre, everybody. And without Chris Paul, they still had a chance to win the game. They had an historically bad shooting night.
That's not accurate. Chris Paul got hurt. Chris Paul got hurt in Game 5.
Yeah.
Okay? They lost Game 6 and then lost Game 7.
Right, but I'm talking about Game 7.
But Chris Paul was there.
Yeah, I understand. No, I get it. But I'm saying he played without Chris Paul, had an all-time bad shooting night, Harden and the team. At one point was 0 for 27 from 3. 0 for 27, lost by single digits to that Warriors team. No one came close to sniffing that Warriors team except that Houston team that almost beat them. Now, I saw Harden do that, right? Okay, you mean to tell me Harden with Kyrie Irving, if those guys can stay healthy on this team with a shooter like Joe Harris, Shamet, they have guys, has no shot against these Eastern Conference teams? I don't see any Warriors in the East.
I didn't say no shot. I said I'm not picking them to come out of the East.
Can they win? I think they certainly can win. And I think this is what it's going to come down to if there's no KD. The same thing I've been harping on the whole time. Can James Harden stay James Harden in the playoffs when it matters most? Stephen A., you might be right. Maybe they can't win. But if they really can't win, it's because Harden didn't rise to the occasion. He plays like he played in the regular season, they can definitely win.
I've been told I can have an afro and a hairline that'll move 2 feet forward if I went to Hair Club for Men. Anything's possible.
The Lakers are without their 2 superstars, but could get them back just in the nick of time before the playoffs. AD could return in 2 weeks, LeBron in 3. Now, let's see how the purple and gold are currently faring in the West. So since AD's injury, the Lakers have treaded water at 12-13. They are in 5th place at 33-20. The Jazz, Suns, Clips, Nuggets are all ahead of the defending champs. Max Kellerman, how will AD and LeBron's injuries impact the stretch run and the playoff serve?
Assuming they come back healthy, it's going to help them, I think, because of the added responsibilities that role players have. Look, Talen Horton-Tucker, who played well again, he's valued throughout the league. The reason the Lakers didn't make deadline deal was because in order to match salaries, other teams had to take back a lot of players they didn't want, and then what they really wanted was Talen Horton-Tucker, and the Lakers like, nah, it's good, we're going to keep him. So he's seen more kind of dimensions to his game. He's been able to display them and to work on them than he ordinarily would have to were LeBron and AD playing. And we've seen, obviously, Drummond, who's, you knew he could walk in on a team that needed offense and give you 20 and 10 or 20 and 15 even. And the role players just generally are able to show extra dimensions to their game. So if called upon in the moment of truth, they should be more comfortable doing that. I think that certainly helps the Lakers. And then there's the rest that LeBron is getting right now. Not to mention AD, but LeBron in particular. When does this man ever have an offseason? He's in the finals every year. So, while other players get to go on vacation, LeBron has more intensity. Every minute is not created equal. The minutes you play at the end of a long season in a high-pressured situation is going to be more taxing, more draining. And this man does that every year for 1,000,000 years now. Now he gets a nice, long rest. And finally, Stephen A., I'll say, when you look at the standings in the West, even if the Lakers were the 10th seed, and they've been treading water, they've been just about 500 since LeBron went down, meaning no LeBron, no AD. They're winning just about as much as they're losing. But even if they're the 10 seed, you think they're going to lose a play-in game or tournament when they have LeBron and AD to the 9 or 8 seed in the West? No, that ain't going to happen. And then, now they have a tougher schedule. Well, they lose a home game in the playoffs if someone can take them 7 games. But you're going to have to beat a bunch of nasty teams to begin with. Who do you want first? Does it really matter? You got the Mavs, the Blazers, the Nuggets, Clippers, Suns, Jazz. They're all tough. You're going to have to play at least 2 of them, if not 3, to get out of the West. I think in the long run, provided they're healthy, this actually helps the Lakers.
Well, there's nothing to talk about provided they're healthy, because if they're healthy, they have 2 of the top 5 players on the planet in Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I am not concerned at all about LeBron James. And he is the one player in this league that, take as much time as you need. I have nothing to say. Considering the level of success that he continuously puts forth, plus his willingness to play, the fact that he shows up, that regular season games matter, and he doesn't like to miss games, and he has a proven history to validate that, I don't give a damn if LeBron is healthy and decides to take a month off. It means nothing to me. He's earned it, okay? I don't think anybody else in the league has earned that as much as him. Let me get that out the way. Anthony Davis, that's a different matter because Anthony Davis's durability is the question mark here. Anthony Davis healthy, there's not much to worry about because we know how lethal he is. But the injury that he sustained and the way he grabbed his leg and how eerily similar it looked to Kevin Durant with his calf and what have you, that's what has me worried about Anthony Davis. They say he's going to come back. I'm almost of the mindset that I'll believe it when I see it. And not only that, remember the word is out. They're going to get physical with him. And there are teams in the Western Conference in position to get physical with him, especially Denver. When you think about the pickup of Aaron Gordon, and obviously with the Joker, with Jamal Murray and Barton to be back this year. He is back, but I'm saying he wasn't in the bubble play last year. When you consider the weapons that they have available to them, Denver is going to be incredibly, incredibly formidable. We see Utah. We know that. The Phoenix Suns have arrived. They are here, and you're going to have to deal with them. And so I think that because of the road, it's going to require the health of Anthony Davis to be right there, to be relatively pristine. It can't be a situation where he's walking around at 60, 70% or whatever, and he's being a bit tentative. No, he's going to have to bring his
50,
A
60.
game in order for them to get out of the Western Conference. That's my concern. I'm not saying that he's going to be injured max and he can't play at all. My concern is that I think that he needs to be better than 75% in order for the Lakers to get out of the Western Conference. And that's my concern.
50, 60%, you're right. And you're right to be concerned because of the nature of the injury. The calf bone's connected to the Achilles bone, as we've found out, right? I'll say this, though. They didn't used to have Andre Drummond. And that man is like, whatever you want to think about a fit, whatever, he's better than an average starting center. He's a high-quality starting center, starting five. And before they had Drummond, you know, AD is best at the five on this team. Are we sure that's still the case? Because you talk about getting physical with him. But if he's playing the four, that might be less of a concern, especially the way AD was shooting it this season. And it's different. It's not just like you have a name brand at the five, but he's not really a starter anymore, right? Marc Gasol or someone like that. No, you got a guy who's a high-level starter in Drummond right now. You can legit play at the five, AD at the four. That might be your best team.
I want to say this real quick as an aside, guys. Marc Gasol, he was on the bench. He spoke about it, didn't say much about it, but obviously he was not happy that Andre Drummond arrived and essentially took his starting spot. I like Marc Gasol a lot. I really, really do. Andre Drummond is better.
Yeah, Gasol's a little long in the tooth.
The newly acquired Dennis Schroeder said he intends to start at point guard for the defending champs. The Lakers have not settled upon their starting lineup. Sources told ESPN, though Schroeder would consider him starting at the point guard spot. He also could be asked to fill in off the bench. Sources have said that as well. Max, I'll start with you here. How much pressure is on the Lakers to repeat?
I think there's more pressure on the Lakers this season. Yeah, I didn't hear either. I'm sorry. I'm assuming you said me, but I don't know.
Max,
Go ahead, Max. Go ahead, Max.
Because Stephen A. didn't. Okay. All right. I think there's more pressure on the Lakers to start this season, to win this season, than there was last season. Like, do you remember before last season that survey of GMs, right? I think it was right before the season started. It was late October or November. Who is most likely to win? GMs, right? So they survey 30 GMs, all the GMs in the league, and they ask, who is most likely to win the championship? These people, their living is dependent on knowing this kind of stuff, of evaluating talent. Number one was the Clippers. Number two was the Bucks. Lakers finished a distant third. They turned out to be wrong. But the perception was going in, the Lakers may not win it this season. And why not? Like, this is the third time LeBron has formed a super team in a location. The first time is he went to Miami, Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and then Miller and all these guys. Yeah, we want to play there too. They lost the championship year one. They got there, but they lost. Same thing happened in Cleveland. Oh, they got Kyrie and the number one pick. They can flip Wiggins into Kevin Love. I'll go to Cleveland. There's another super team. Year one, he lost. True, everyone got hurt, but he didn't win the championship year one. LeBron usually figures that out year two because you got to get the details just right. It's hard just to throw guys together and have them win a championship. So I would say the expectation among most who knew was not that the Lakers would win, yet they did. But how about this season, guys? What's the expectation now? A lot of people would say the number 1 and number 2 players in the world are both on the Lakers. They just won the championship, and I think everyone agrees they improved at least on paper in the offseason. Montrezl Harrell and Schroeder and Marc Gasol. So, yeah, there's more pressure now, especially, Stephen A., as you know. You spent enough time in L.A. and have covered the league long enough and have been alive long enough to know. Lakers fans, they get greedy. You know, the reason they want to win a championship is because you can't repeat or three-peat without winning the first one. Now they expect it. So do the odds makers, and I think there's more pressure than ever right now.
Well, for me personally, when I think about three-peat, that's the only time that I'm interested in applying any kind of pressure to LeBron James at this stage and point in his career. He's never done that in his career. He won back-to-backs in Miami. He won one in Cleveland. He won one with the Los Angeles Lakers. But he's never three-peated like Jordan. He's never three-peated like Kobe. And so because of that, I would like to see that. I don't think that will happen. But then again, you never know with the arsenal that they've put forth. The bottom line is I don't think there's as much pressure on the Los Angeles Lakers to quote-unquote repeat outside of that. I think there's pressure on LeBron James to win another chip before he departs from L.A. since he'll have Anthony Davis. And by the way, speaking of Anthony Davis, congratulations to Clutch Sports and Anthony Davis. I don't know why the hell they're in the news for him not signing. It's a 2-year deal, it's a 3-year deal, or it's a 4-year deal. Either way you slice it, you're getting the max. What the hell is all the drama about? Sign the damn contract.
Yeah, just tell them what you
want.
want.
Are you really leaving Southern? Are you really leaving Southern California to go to the windy city of Chicago or to the New York Knicks under Dolan, Max Kellerman? I mean, is there really some suspense as to where Anthony Davis is going to go? But they're in the news. I mean, so hey, more power to Rich Paul and Clutch Sports. Major props to them. He's been doing a good job. Here's the bottom line. At the end of the day, when you look at all the moves that the Lakers made, certainly they're the favorites, they're the prohibitive favorites. But, Max, I was of the mindset, if you remember, I said the Lakers had to win last year. I'm not trying to say there's no pressure, because, of course, there's pressure. I'm saying there was more last year than now. The reason why is because I firmly believed if they had lost last year and somebody else, say the Clippers, had knocked them off, all right, or, God forbid, Denver, okay, then what would have happened was it would have been that much harder for them to ultimately overcome, get over the hump, because there would have been even more pressure to bear on LeBron and Anthony Davis. They would not have won together. Everybody would have been like, what's up, what you gonna do? Meanwhile, those other teams knew how to win. But the fact that that has not happened and the Lakers ended up handling their business in relatively dominant fashion, I might add, the bottom line is because they handled their business the way that they did and they won the chip and they already know how to win together and they've gotten that off. Now they could just go and play basketball, may the best team win. They should be it. Again, there's pressure because they're the prohibitive favorite. But it's nothing compared to what it was last year, because if they had not won last year, it would have been significantly more pressure this season and beyond.
But the reason is, I think there's a problem with that kind of thought experiment. The reason that there's more pressure now is because they didn't lose to the Clippers. They never met the Clippers. They didn't lose to the Nuggets. They didn't lose to anyone. And Stephen A., the truth is, they never really came close, brother. They never really came close. That was kind of an easy championship win. Not that winning any championship is easy, but we've seen teams get to a nail-biter Game 7 along the way, right? Right, they made it look easy. Could someone even take them to a Game 7? No. That was like Jordan on the Bulls type stuff, right? Like, y'all can't even take this dude to a Game 7? Those might be the two best players in the world. So the fact that we now know that they were that much better than the rest of basketball last season, and we all believe they got better, but we don't look at any other team and say, see that team right there? That team was knocking on the door, and they just took a giant step forward. We don't think that about the Clippers. You may think they got marginally better or marginally worse. The Bucks got a little better, but they didn't even get out of the East. Did the Heat get better? Maybe if certain guys improve because they're getting a little older, but no one. We don't see anyone on the, it's not like the Nuggets acquired some major star or something like that. We're like, okay, now what are they going to do? So for that reason, there's more pressure now because we know what the Lakers are supposed to do. The expectations are higher.
Well, again, I disagree. I mean, because the expectations are higher because we're looking at them and some of the moves that they made, and they're the prohibitive favorites. But I look at Denver. One could argue that there's addition by subtraction. Even though we all like Jeremy Grant and he can ball, the fact that he's going to be gone, Barton's going to come back, but you've got Michael Porter Jr. that's expected to ascend. Who knows how interesting that can be?